Greetings and welcome to STEM Smart Academy. Welcome everyone. We are going to discuss the Kakamega Mathematics Joint examination that was done on March 2026, Form 4 Mathematics, Paper 2. And this time we're going to put our focus in section 2 of this paper. So before we start, kindly subscribe to this channel if you are yet to subscribe. Share this link widely to your other friends so that they might also join and enjoy this free session. So let's have a look at the paper and what it contains. Remember that section 1 of this paper has been fully revised. All these questions in section 1 were fully revised. And in case you find that there is an area that is giving you a challenge, feel free to revisit them and have it done. The section 1 from question 1 to question 16, fully revised here in our channel, and the video is there. So we are going direct to section 2, that is from question number 17. Look at the paper. Wonderful. You see, when you get into section 2, the first question is statistics 2, a very simple but common question in mathematics paper 2. Let's break it down. The table below shows the masses of 110 Form 4 students in Nemu High School. You can see we have the table. That's the mass in kgs and the number of students. So when you look at it, part A of the question is solve for the value of x. We are being told to solve for the value of x. Now, the masses of 144 students, remember the total number of students here should be 110. So when you add all these ones here, the values here should give you 110. So to get the value of x, we are going to take the total number of learners, which is 110, minus what we get when you take 3, plus 30, plus 33, plus 13, plus 1, plus 1. So this will be like saying 110 minus, then you do, let's sum it using a calculator, 3 plus 30 plus 33 plus 13 plus 1 plus 1, that is 81. Then now we say 110 minus 81, you are going to get 29 as the value of x. So in that context, the value of x for that particular part is 29. The value of x for that particular part is 29. We are progressing very, very well. Let's have a look at part B of this very question, whereby they are saying, using an assumed mean of 57, calculate the mean mass. Using an assumed mean of 57, you are being told to calculate the mean mass. So remember, in such like a question, if you've been tried using this as an assumed mean, make sure you stick to that assumed mean you've been told. Make sure you stick to that assumed mean. So, in regards to our table, we are going to redraw this table again vertically because it was laid horizontally. Now we have to structure it vertically to make our work simpler, or rather easier. So I'm going to have a column. I can just do the repetition. We have the column for the masses become my class. So let me see. My class, I have 40 to 44, 40 to 44, 45 to 49, 50 to 54, 55 to 59, 60 to 64, 65 to 69, then finally 70 to 74. Let us structure it in a very good way and organized manner. So that is it. Let me rule them so that we don't mix these concepts during the calculations. Remember, don't say that you're doing zero work. Remember, time taken to sharpen a cutting tool is never time wasted. That's what the teachers of English told me during my time those days. All right. So, what about the frequencies? So this is a column for F, the frequency. We have 3, 30. Now X, we have the value of X as 29. So this is 29 here. Then 33, 13, 1, 1. 33, 13, 1, 1. So those are the frequencies. After dealing with the frequencies, we can populate another table here for X. That will be our midpoints, X. X will be 40 plus 44 divided by 2, 42. 45 plus 49 divided by 2, 47. 50 plus 54 divided by 2, 52. 55 plus 59 divided by 2, 57. Then 62, 67, 72. That's a column for the midpoints, well populated. This table is a must, and you must clearly show it because it has also some marks. Then after this, we are going to populate our D, which is given by X minus A. X minus A. So if X is 42, 57, so 42 minus 57, that is going to be negative 3. 47 minus, sorry, this is wrong. 42 minus 57 is negative 15. 47 minus 57, negative 10. Negative 5, 0, 5, 10, 15. Those are the values for D. After that, let's go and get a column called FD. FD means F times D. 3 times negative 15, that's negative 45. 30 times negative 10, that is negative 300. 29 times negative 5, that is negative 145. 30 times 0, that will be 0. 13 times 5, that is 65. 1 times 10, that is 10. 1 times 15, that is 15. Let us sum it up and see what we get. So negative 45 plus negative 10 plus negative 5 plus 5 plus 10 plus Sorry, I'm summing the FD column. So it should be negative 45 plus negative 300 plus negative 145 plus 0 plus 65 plus 10 plus 15. This gives you negative 400. We are getting negative 400 here. Negative 400, let me just put it here. I know it's overlapping, but that is negative 400. After populating the FD column, I might need another column here for the D squared. D squared here. D squared meaning we are squaring the D values. Negative 15 squared, that is 225. Negative 10 squared is 100. Negative 5 squared is 25. 0, 25. 100, 225. After that, let's also populate another column, which we do call FD squared. FD squared. In the FD squared, we are going to take F times the values of D squared. So for instance, 3 times 225, that becomes 675. 30 times 100, that will become 3000. 29 times 25, 725. 33 times 0 is 0. 13 times 25, that is 325. 1 times 100, that's 100. 1 times 225, that is 225. Then the summation of FD squared here is giving you 5050. We are now done with that part. Now we go to calculation because I'm done with my table. Remember, you are to calculate the mean mass using assumed mean. So you would have said that mean mass, mean, is given by assumed mean plus summation of FD over summation of F. Summation of FD over summation of F. So when you look at it this way, the assumed mean is 57. We are going to have here 57 plus our summation of FD. Summation of FD, we found it as negative 400. So we are going to have here plus negative 400 over summation of F, which is 110. So this will be like saying just 57 plus negative, when you take negative 400 divided by 110, this becomes negative 40 over 11. So when you add it to 57, you are going to get your answer. You're going to get your answers 53.364. 53.364. So that is the mean mass. And that is how you calculate mean mass, mean using assumed mean. You must be having the formulas in your fingertips. You must be having these formulas in your fingertips. You must be having the formulas in your fingertips. Let's look at Roman 2 of the very question, where we are being asked to calculate what we call the standard deviation. So you need to know the formulas in this topic. What I want you learners to bear in mind, that standard deviation is given by the square root of summation of f d squared over summation of f minus summation of fd over summation of f, all of this being squared, but remember they were under square root. That formula is very important, and many learners at times make mistakes. So I hope I've made that very, very clear. So let's now just do what we call the substitution. We are now going to have the square root of summation of FD squared. We found it as 5050. So we're going to put here 5050 over summation of F, which is 110, minus, look at this part. This is where learners make mistake. Summation of FD over summation of F, then you square. Summation of FD, learners, when you look at our table, the column for FD summed up to negative 400. So this is negative 400 over summation of F, which is 110. This is what is being squared, but all are in a square root. So when you work it out, we are going to get, let me see, let me work out what is inside here. When I take negative 400 divided by 110, then I square what I've gotten. Then now I take 50 over 110 minus what I got. I'm going to get the square root of 32.6859. 32.6859, which when I execute well, I'm going to get 5.71. I'm having this as 5.7172. 5.7172. Look at the question, a very, very enjoyable question. Part B, we're being told, find the mass of the 50th student. Find the mass of the 50th student. I know this is a question that many learners now would have gotten a big challenge, maybe due to lack of enough practice. You might have faced a challenge here, but I'm going to simplify to you. To get the mass of the 50th student, first of all, we are going to look at, because they're talking about the 50th student, where would that 50th student lie? Maybe to make this point sink, allow I populate another column in my table. In that column, I'm going to call it the CF column. It is going to help you a lot. Let me just, I know it was not necessary, but for purposes of explanation, let me put here the CF column to bring it home. So the first value of CF column should be equal to the first value of the frequency. 3, here will also be 3. Then 3 plus 30, you're going to have here 33. 33 plus 29, let's look at it. 33 plus 29, that will be 62. 62. 62 plus 33, that is 95. 95 plus 13, that is 108. 108. Plus 1 will be 109. Plus another 110. So after that, because now we want to get the mass of the 50th student, what we are going to do here, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to see where does 50 fall in our cumulative frequency column. Where does 50 fall in our cumulative frequency column? So when you look at it well, 50 falls in 62. It cannot be at 33 because 50 is more than 33, but here at 62, 50 fits. So this class is the class where the mass of that 50th student falls. I've used my CF column to see where 50 lies. Then I've now identified my class. After identifying that class, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to use the formula for calculating median. We are going to use the formula for calculating median. Remember, when you are calculating median, you do say we start with the lower class limit. When you look at that class 50 to 54, the lower class limit will be 49.5. So we are going to have here L, that is 49.5 plus. Now here I want you to be very keen. We are not going to say n over 2, the way you people are used to. But now because we know it is 50th student, we are going to say now 50 minus the previous cumulative frequency, or the cumulative frequency above that class, which is now in this case 33. So that is minus 33 over the frequency of that very, very particular class. The frequency there is 29 times the class interval. The class interval, when you look at 50 to 54, the class interval there is 5. The class interval there is 5. So that's how we do it. So this will be now 49.5 added to, then get this point, take 50 minus 33, that will be 17, divided by 29, then multiplied by 5. This gives you 2.931. 2.931. Now when you take 49.5 plus 2.931, you are exactly getting 52.431. A very, very simple question. 52.431. That's how you could have answered that question. If you feel you've understood well how I've done that part, ladies and gentlemen, you can drop a comment in the chat section telling us how you are familiarizing yourself with these questions. Let us have a look at question number 18. In the diagram below, the vertices x, y, z are x06, y, so here x we have 06, y 912, z 210, here we have 210, point A 610, and B 18.3 lie on lines XY and YZ respectively. Then you're being told to find XB. Learners, I want you now to concentrate fully on this question. The reason is, nowadays, when you look at the trend of setting questions in vectors, it is shifting to such position of vectors. So kindly give me a very, very keen ear so that you understand this concept well, and maybe it will help you one day. And this might be the question you might remember me of come November 2026 KCSE exams. So find XB. Look at this. When you're told to get XB, because these are positional vectors, I want you to be very keen with positional vectors. XB, let me see. XB is normally given by, XB is given by B minus X. So my B in terms of a column vector will be 18.3 minus X. X is 0.606. So you proceed and say 18 minus 0 is 18. Then 3 minus 6 is negative 3. So we are having it as 18 negative 3 as XB in terms of column vector. What to take, the digit on the right minus the digit on the left. It's just as simple as that for positional vectors. Let's look at ZA. ZA, you take the one on the right, which is A, minus the one on the left, which is Z. When you substitute, let's take the values for A. Our A is 610, so we are going to have this as 610, minus our Z, which is 210. Again, 6 minus 21, that is negative 15. 10 minus 0 is a 0. So the positional vector ZA is 15, 0 as a column vector, 15, 0. Let us have a look at part B, where we are being told that line XB and ZA intersect at M, such that ZM is equal to KZA and XM is equal to MXB. So first of all, let's break it down. Because we are being told that they intersect at M. They intersect at M. Let me see. By expressing OM in two different ways, determine the values of K and M. Determine the values of K and M. So let me see OM first from the diagram. How can I move from O to M? O to M, I can move OZ, then ZM. You see, if I move from O to Z, then Z to M, I'll have moved from O to M. So that is the first path. I'm going to have my first path as OM is equal to, first I'll move from O to Z, then Z to M in that particular direction. Then O to Z, because I'm referencing from the origin, it is just like the coordinate of Z, which is 21, 0. So I'm going to have this one here is 21, 0. Plus Zm. Remember, this Zm is what we've been told it is KZA. So it's going to be K of ZA, but we've already worked out ZA as negative 15, 0 at the top here. Negative 15, 0. Negative 15, 0. So this will now become 21, 0. 21, 0. Plus, I'm taking you slow because I want you to understand this concept. This will be now plus negative 15K. We are having plus negative 15K, then 0. Remember, any number multiplied by 0 is a 0. This is our OM. This is our OM. You would have done it that way and you are done. You would have done it. Sorry, ZA, when you have 6 minus 21, it was negative 15. 10 minus 0 should have been 10, not 0. 10. So this one here also should be 10, making this one here 10K, like that. So that's how you get OM. That is how you get OM. OM. And when you look at it well, it means this can be worked out this way. OM can now be written this way. 21 plus negative 15K, that will just remain as 21 minus 15K. 21 minus 15K. Then 0 plus 10K, this will just be like 10K. Like that. So that is OM, the first way. Let's look at it the second way. How can I move from O to M? Because this time I passed via ZM, then I want to see if I can move from O to M via XM. Let us go back to our diagram. O to M via XM will be O to X, then X to M. OX plus XM. So I can say another way is that OM can be given as OX plus XM. I want you to be very, very keen with this part. When you talk about OX, because you are referencing X from the origin, is just the coordinate of X. which is 0.6. So this is going to be now, this is going now to be 0.6. Let us see here, 0.6 plus xm, but our xm is m xb. So that is m of xb. I'm sure we've got an xb somewhere here, is 18 negative 3. 18 negative 3. 18 negative 3, that way. Then when you reach there, you can equally proceed and say OM is like saying 0.6 plus 18m negative 3m. So this means my OM, when you work that further, you're going to have 0 plus 18m, that will just be 18m. 6 plus negative 3m, that will be like saying 6 minus 3m. That, by doing like that, I have expressed OM in two different ways. By expressing OM in two different ways, determine the values of K and M. Oh my God. Now I've done the expression in two different ways. You can see the first value is this one here. The next value is this one here. So we now need to get the values of M and N. What we do, I want to use a new pen to squeeze it here. To get the values, because all of these are values of OM, then you can equate. I can take the upper values. For the first equation here, it was 21 minus 15k. So I'll take 21 minus 15k. I'll equate it with the first value of OM in the second equation, which is 18m. So that means 18m plus 15k is equivalent to 21. And that has given us the first equation. The next equation, I'll equate the lower values. I'll take 10k being equal to 6 minus 3m. So that means I'm now going to form two equations which I'll need to solve simultaneously. Remember, the first equation I found is 18m plus 15k equal to 21. Then now here, I'm saying I'm having also 3m plus 10k equal to 6. I want to use elimination method where I'll eliminate m. I'll multiply here by 3, here by 18. So this will now become 54m plus 45k is equal to, what do you get when you multiply 3 by 21? That gives you 63. In the lower equation, 18 times 3 remains 54m plus 18 times 10, that will be 180k is equal to 18 times 6, that's going to be 108. Then you subtract 54m minus 54m will disappear. Then I'll be left with 45k minus 180k. That will be, when you take 45 minus 180, that should be negative 135k. Negative 135k being equal to 63 minus 108. That gives you negative 45. So negative 135k is equals to negative 45. So that means, what is the value for k, ladies and gentlemen? To get the value for k, we are going to divide both sides by negative 135. So when you divide by negative 135, you get the value of k as a third. We get the value of k as a third. That is 1 over 3. And when the value of k is 1 over 3, then the value of m will be obtained by simply substituting. So to get m, first I'm going to take 1 over 3 times 10, then 6 minus that answer, then I divide both sides by 3. The value of m is 8 over 9. So that's how you get how many marks, the 5 marks there. That's how simple you can get the 5 marks at that particular point. We are proceeding to question number Roman 2. Determine the exact coordinates of point M. So now to get the exact coordinates of point M, you remember we had said that our OM, I can use the first equation. Our OM was given by 21 minus 15k, then 10k. When you substitute, this will be 21 minus 15 into k. Our k is 8 over 9. Divide this by 10k, that is 10 times k, which is 8 over 9. So 15 times, let me see, 15 times 8 over 9, then 21 minus that, you are going to get 7 2 over 3, 7 2 over 3, all over 10 times 8 over 9, that's going to be 8 whole number, 2 over 3. Sorry, 8 over 9. In fact, this one, as you write as column vectors, we don't use an all over sign that way. So the correct answer here for the coordinates, I don't know why I'm not getting what I wanted. Let me just see. Let me cross check once again. 21 minus 15k. Let me see. 21 minus 15 into the value of k. K is a third. I've substituted the value of m, sorry. I should be substituting the value of k, which is a third, not m. Let me just fix that part. But we are at the right track. It should be 21 minus 15 into k. K is a third. Then 10 into 10k, so that will be 10 into 1 over 3. So when I take 21 minus 15 into a third, I'm getting that as 16. Then 10 times a third, that will be 10 over 3. But now look at the statement. They want it in coordinates form. So that means the value of m as a coordinate will be 16, 10 over 3 can be written as, remember they want the exact coordinate. So 10 over 3 will be 3 and a third. So that is how you get your marks there. You just substitute. Roman 3, find the ratio in which A divides Zm. Find the ratio in which A divides Zm. So this is going to be very simple. A dividing Zm, remember we had said previously that Zm is equal to K of ZA. K of ZA. But now when you are keen, this will be like saying Zm is equal to K. Where is K? K is a third of ZA. Now because they want the ratio in which A divides Zm, A dividing Zm, let's look at the diagram. A dividing Zm, that is external division because A is outside the line Zm. And because it's external division, it means that the total length here, the total Zm is 3, and ZA is 1. So this is negative 3 ratio 1. The ratio here is negative 3 is to 1. External division being illustrated or represented by a negative. Now I go to the next question. Those who are asking about my consultation number and how they can reach out to me, I'm readily available via the number 07 41 30 43 11. Feel free to call, feel free to WhatsApp, then we'll be able to help you. So let's have a look at question number 19, ladies and gentlemen. A very, very interesting question once again. So when you look at the question, that triangle PQR has vertices P22, Q 2, negative 2, and R negative 1, 4. Point Q is mapped to Q prime by a shear with x-axis invariant. Draw the triangle PQR and its image under the shear on the same axis on the axis provided below. A very, very wonderful question. So when you are told to do that, you need to have the concepts with you. So the first thing I'm going to do, let's have our Cartesian plane. Let's have our Cartesian plane. Let's have our Cartesian plane. This is our Cartesian plane. This is our Cartesian plane. This is our Cartesian. That's our Cartesian plane. Allow I number our Cartesian plane. So this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6. Negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, maybe negative 5. On the lower axis, we have here negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, maybe negative 5 here. Now let's do the plotting. One, we are being told to draw the triangle PQR. P is 2, 2. So 2, 2. I want you to be very keen with how I'm doing mine. P is 2, 2. That's P. Q is 2, negative 2. 2, negative 2 is here. That is Q. Then R is 1, negative 1, negative 4. Negative 1, negative 4. Here, this is our R. Let's join it first to get the triangle. Let's join this to see the type of triangle we are getting. We are joining to see the type of triangle that we are getting. We are joining to see so that is our object PQR. Then we are being told that Point Q is mapped to Q prime, 5, -2. Let's locate Q prime. This time round, allow I can use this one. Q prime is 5, -2. 5, -2. This is Q prime. So our Q prime is 5, -2. So this is our Q prime. We are being told now here, because of that, by a shear with x-axis invariant, we are being told that x-axis should be invariant. X-axis is invariant. What does it mean? Draw triangle P prime, Q prime, R prime, and so draw PQR and its image under the shear on the same axis. On the same axis. On the same axis. So what I want you to understand, let me see. So what happens here is that because Q prime has moved that way, so what you need to understand, we are going to get, and it's a shear with x-axis invariant. So a shear with x-axis invariant is normally represented this way. A shear with x-axis invariant, it's 1, 0, K, 1. When I take it where K here should be the scale factor. K should be the scale factor. So that means when I take this matrix, remember this MOI acronym, that matrix times object. So our object here is 5 what? Our object here is Q, which is 2, 2, 2, -2, sorry. 2, -2. I should get the image, which is Q prime 5, -2. Bearing this in mind, so I'm going to have 2 minus 2k being equivalent to row times column should be equal to 5. So this means that k is going to be equal to 1.5. Is it -1.5 as the value for k? If that is true, now, to get the coordinates for P prime, I'm going now to take my object 1, 0, -1.51. Let me multiply it by the coordinates of P, 2, 2, and also R, -1, -4. I want to use this so that I can locate the P prime and R prime. So remember, it's row times column. So when I take 1 times 2 plus -1.5 being multiplied by 2 being multiplied by 2, that's going to give you -1. Then 1 times 1 times -1 plus -1.5 times -4. That gives you 5 here. Go to the lower values. 0 times 2 is 0, plus 1 times 2, that is 2. 0 times negative 1 is 0. 1 times negative 4, that is negative 4. So it means that our P prime is going now to be negative 1, 2. P prime, negative 1, 2. Negative 1, 2. Negative 1, 2. So my P prime, where is negative 1, 2? Is here. Let me see, just I was taking 2 plus negative 3. That became negative 1, 2 is up here. That's our P prime. Then that's P prime, Q prime. R prime is 5. Is this one negative 4 or 4? Let me see. 5 negative 4. 5 negative 4. 5 negative 4 is here. That way. So let's now join. This is R prime. So when you join, you're going to get something like this. Let's proceed. We are getting something of this type. We are getting this as that's what we've gotten. That's what we've gotten. So we are being told, part B, find the matrix that represents the shear. We've already done that computation. Remember, we had, because that shear with x-axis invariant, so it is 1, 0, K1 with K as the shear factor, times the coordinates for Q, which is 2, negative 2, should give you 5, negative 2. This means the value of K is negative 1.5. Therefore, our shear will be now 1, 0, negative 1.5, 1. That's how you get that particular question. Let's proceed. Let us proceed. Part C, the transformation S is a rotation of 180 degrees above the origin. 180 degrees above the origin. It maps P prime onto P double prime. Let me see. P prime onto P double prime. It's a rotation about the origin. About the origin. A rotation about the origin. Mapping this one. So from the origin here, when we rotate this one here, you need to be very keen. Rotation of 180 degrees. If, let me get a different ink. This time I use a green pen. If P prime was negative 1, 2, then P double prime will be 2, negative 1. 2, negative 1. Not really. Let me see about the origin. So it will be 1, negative 2. Let me see. Here we need to be very, very keen with how we respond to such a question. How we respond to such a question. Thank you for watching, all of those who are following live. That is very, very important. So we need to reflect this one through 180 degrees about the origin, remember. So it's very about the origin. This is very important. So because it's a rotation about the origin, so let me see. Okay, it's going to be here. P prime. This is P double prime. Then with Q prime, it is at with this one here, it's going to be at 5 positive 2 here, Q prime. Q prime will be at 5 positive 2. This is our Q double prime. Our R prime, because it was at 5 negative 4, it's going to be at negative 5 positive 4, negative 5 positive 4 here. That is our R double prime. Then let's join P double prime to Q double prime to R double prime. That's how you perpetually do that question. That is how you do such a question. Let's have a look. Draw this. Find a single matrix of transformation that maps P double prime, Q double prime, R double prime back onto PQR. A single transformation. So I'll say, let the transformation of matrix. I'm following the MOI acronym that I normally advise learners to have in memory of President Moi of Kenya. M means the matrix. Let the matrix be A, B, C, D. A, B, C, D. Multiply it now with the coordinates. Let's multiply this by the coordinates of this case. This will be our object. This will become as our object. This will become as our image. Our object is now the coordinates of P double prime. P double prime, I'm having, let me see, 1, negative 2. I'm having here 1, negative 2. 1, negative 2. 1, negative 2. Q double prime. PQ is negative 5, 2. We are having here negative 5, 2. And R double prime, our R double prime here, ladies and gentlemen, is negative 5, 4. Negative 5, 4. To give me the image PQR, remember P was P2, 2, Q2, negative 2. 2, 2 here. 2, negative 2. Then the other one, PQR is negative 1, negative 4. R, negative 1, negative 4. So let's do the multiplication. We are going to have here A minus 5B is equal to 2. Then the next one we can have is negative 5A plus 2B is equal to negative 5A plus 2B will be equal to 2 also. We can eliminate by multiplying this by 5. So this will be, let me shut there. This will be 5A minus 25B is equal to 10. Then this will be negative 5A plus 2B is equals to 2. you can add to eliminate the a's. Then negative 25b plus 2b, that is like saying negative 23b is equal to 12. Therefore, b is equals to 12 over, b is equals to negative 12 over 3. Negative 12 over 23. That's the value for b. After getting the values for b, we need to get the values also for a. So in that case, our a is now going to read, because when I take negative 5 into the value of b, which I found as negative 12 over 23, I'm getting that. When it crosses over, it will become, let me just see. To get the value of a, it will be like saying 2 plus 5 into b, which is negative 12 over 23. Negative 14 over 23. To get the values, so I've gotten a and b. I can get CD, whereby I'm now going to say negative 5c, negative 5c plus 2d, negative 5c plus 2d is equals to negative 2. Then negative 5c plus 4d is equals to negative 4. This one here you add, you subtract directly. When you subtract, the c's will disappear. Then you have your 2d minus 4d. This is negative 2d is equals to negative 2 minus 4. This is positive 2. Therefore, d is equal to negative 1. And once the value of d is equals to negative 1, you can get the value of c. Yes, c, because now you know that the value for c will now be equal to, let me see, it will be now negative 4 minus 4 into d, which is negative 1. Then divide through by negative 5, so c will be 0. So the coordinates here, in terms of a will be negative 14 over 23. B will be negative 12 over 23. C is 0. D is negative 1. So that's how you respond to such a question. Let us have a look at the next part of this wonderful discussion. The area, a cubic centimeters of a cylinder, depends partly on r and partly on r squared, where r is the radius of the base. When r is equal to 1, a is equals to 7, and r is equals to 2, a is equals to 16. Find the expression of a in terms of r. Find the expression of a in terms of r. So what you need to understand, ladies and gentlemen, because of this, what they are trying to say is that they are saying a partly depends on r, so I can say a is equals to mr plus, because this is partial variation, you have to add, whenever you see partly, that's partial variation always. A is equals to mr plus nr squared. So when r is 1, a is 7. So 7 is equal to r is 1. So 1 times m will be m plus r squared times n will just be n, because n is 1. Or maybe someone will get lost. Let me just do it. This will be m into r, which is 1, plus n into 1 squared. So this will evaluate into 7 being equal to m plus n, and this will give me equation 1. Equation 2 is r is equals to 2 when a is 16. So when a is 16, r will be 2. So this will be 2m now, plus r is 2. 2 squared will be 4. 4n. This will become equation 2. So after forming those two equations, we need to solve them to get the values of m and n. So when I have here m plus n is equals to 7, then 2m plus 4n is equals to 16, I can eliminate m by multiplying here by 2. And once I do that multiplication by 2, we are almost getting this answer. Once I do that multiplication by 2, that will now become 2m plus 2n is equivalent to 14. Then 2m here plus 4n is equal to 16. You can do subtraction. 2m and 2m disappear. 2n minus 4n, that is going to be negative 2n, being equivalent to negative 2. Therefore, the value of n is equals to 1. To get m, because m plus n is equals to 7, then I know that m plus n, which is 1, should give me 7. Then m is equal to 6. M is equivalent to 6. After getting those values, I'll now come and do substitution, whereby I now know, because I want to find the expression of a in terms of r, I'll say that now a will be equivalent to m, which is 6r, plus nr squared. N is 1. So this will just be plus r squared. So that is the answer, and that's how you get your 4 marks. You can see how simple mathematics is. Very, very simple questions, ladies and gentlemen. Part B, calculate the radius when the area is 115 to 2 dp. So here you just need to substitute. Here, all you need is to do substitution. Area is 115, so I'll start with 115. Now maybe let me start with the formula so that learners can literally understand and follow up these questions well. Remember now that area is calculated by 6r plus r squared. Our area is 115, is equals to 6r plus r squared. So this is going to give you a quadratic equation, whereby now this will be like r squared plus 6r minus 115 is equivalent to 0. Is equivalent to 0. Then allow I use the quadratic formula to work it out. So quadratic formula means r will be given by minus b plus or minus the root of b squared minus 4ac, all of this divided by 2a. We are dividing all of this by 2a. So when you substitute, our value for r will be given by negative b, so that is negative 6, plus or minus the root of b squared, that is 6 squared, minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is negative 115. Divide this by 2a, that will be 2 multiplied by 1. So this will be like saying negative 6 plus or minus, let us see. When I work out this side, I'm going to have, let me get the square root of that one is 22.27. 22.27 divide by 2. So this means the first value will be, to 1 dp, the first value is negative 6 minus 22.27 divided by 2. negative, I'm getting a very, very particular answer here. Let me see. Okay, let me redo it once again, just for confirmation purposes. 36 minus 4 times negative 115. That is 496. The square root 22.27. So now I'm going to have negative 6 minus, negative 6 minus 22.27 divided by 2. That is negative 14. I'm having negative 14.135, negative 14.135, or I can have this as negative 6 plus 22.27 divided by 2. 1.0675, but because they want the answer in 1 dp, in fact even radius can never be negative, so the correct answer here will be 1.1 centimeters. 1, but will it give me what I want? Let me see. Because it's not. What might I not be doing right here? Let me see once again. What is the value for C in my case? Because we had, I'm trying to see what is it that I did not do right. That's r squared. So the value of b is 6, so that is okay. There is something that is not syncing well here. There is something not syncing well. Just a moment, I'm trying to see what can be the probable problem here, because I'm not getting what I want. I'm trying to confirm through my work once again. I think the equation was just right. The equation was very, very right. So calculate the radius when the area is 115 square centimeters. Keep subscribing, dear learners. Don't forget to share this channel to your other friends so that they might also benefit from this wonderful session. It is very, very important for them. I don't know, what am I not doing right? Well, I had negative 6 minus that. Okay. Let me see once again. 4 times negative 115. Then that's 6 minus the answer, 496. then the square root of the answer, 22.27. Now negative 6 minus 22.27 is negative 28 divided by 2, that is negative 14. That's well understood. Oh my God, how did I work out this part? Let me see. Negative 6 plus 22.27, then divided by 2. Oh my God, this would have been, and I've seen where I went wrong. I wrote this value here wrongly. This value here, I wrote it wrongly here. The positive 1. This positive 1 is wrongly written. And I apologize for that, ladies and gentlemen. Because this should be OR, I'm getting it as 8.135. But now to 1dp, the correct answer should be 8.1 centimeters. 8.1 centimeters as the answer for that part. Let's look at Roman C, part C, sorry, of the very question. Part C. So find the values of R for which the two parts are equal. The values of R for which the two parts are equal. So, for the values of R for which the two parts are equal, it will mean that because the two parts are 6R and R squared, that will mean that 6R should be equal to R squared. And in that context, when you look at it well, so this will mean that R squared minus 6R will be equal to 0. Factoring it out, R, you're going to have R into R minus 6 is equal to 0. So the first case is R is equal to 0. In the next case, we are going to have this as R minus 6 is equal to 0, meaning R will also be equal to 6. So the values of R for which the two parts are equal is when R is equal to 0 or 6. And you earn your 2 marks. You earn your 2 marks. As simple as that. Let's look at question number next, which is question number 21. Complete the table below, giving the values correct to 2dp. You can see the table we are having. Just a minor slight correction. We are having let us see. Complete the table below and make sure your values are correctly to 2dp using a scale of this. So how do we complete the table? Before you complete the table, ladies and gentlemen, we have to give the values first. And we have to confirm, how did they get these 2? Cos x. So this is like saying 1 minus cos x is negative 180 here. We are testing, that is true. Let me test it with positive 180. Okay. 1 minus, I can say, 1 minus cos 30. 1 minus cos 30. That is 0.13. Okay. So we can now proceed. 1 minus cos negative 150. To 2dp, that's 1.87. So this is going to be 1.87 to negative 120, 1.50 to negative 30, 0.13 to 0, that is 1 minus cos 0, that will be 0. Then 1 minus cos 60, that is 0.50. 1 minus cos 120, 1.50. 1 minus 150, 1.87. Let's look at now the next part here. Y is equals to 2 sine this. When you look at it, it is wrongly written. There is an omission of a 2 here. There was a typo error. So that should be 2 to the sine of x, which is maybe negative 180, plus that in this case. So that's negative 1. Let me change this one now to negative 120. This will be negative 2.0. Negative 90. Negative 1.73. Negative 1.73 to 0. That will be now 2 sine 0 plus that is 30. That's 1 at 30. That's like saying sine 1.73 at 120. That's 1 at 150. That is 0. So after that you have already your 2 marks. So using a scale of 1 centimeter for 30 degrees on the x-axis and 2 centimeters for 1 unit on the y-axis, draw the graph of y is equals to 1 minus cos x and y is equals to 2 sine x plus 30 degrees on the same axis for x ranging from 0 to 180. For x ranging from 0 to 180, 4 marks. So we need to draw our diagram here, ladies and gentlemen. And I want you to be very keen with these questions. I want you to be very keen with these questions. Thank you to all those following. Thank you, thank you. Those asking about grade 9, grade 7 compass, it is there. Those asking about other exams, I have all the exams. What you just need, reach out via the number 0741. Let me append it here. Those asking for exams, kindly call the number or WhatsApp the number 0741 30 43 11. 41 30 43 11. Once you WhatsApp that number, our team will be able to respond to you. We proceed. So now we want to draw the graph. We want to draw the graphs. And we need to be very, very keen here when drawing this graph. I want to use this point. I want to use it this way. You need to be very keen with this type of a graph because this one, x values lapses from negative 180 to positive 180. So I want to draw this. And all of this, remember, I'm doing for the betterness of my learners. I'm doing this for the betterness of my learners here. So after that, what I need to do the labeling. So I have to go, I must follow the scale I've been told. 1 centimeter, I've been told 1 centimeter for 30 degrees on the x-axis. So that means I'm going by intervals of 30, 30. So I have here, this will be 60. Let me have just 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 180, then negative 30, negative 60, negative 90, negative 120, negative 150, negative 180. Then on the y-axis, which scale are they saying we use? 2 centimeters for 1 unit. After every 2 centimeters, that is 1 unit. So that is 1, 2. On the low axis, we are going to have negative 1, 2. Negative 1, negative 2. Remember, when you've been told to use a particular scale, it is a must to use that scale. If you use your own scale, then you're going to lose the marks for the scale. So let's do the plotting. I want to plot this first equation. So at negative 180, it is 2. Let me use a blue ink to plot it. Negative 180, it is at 2. Negative 180, it is at 2 here. Negative 150, it is at 1.87. Negative 150, 1.87. That's just like 1.9. 1.9. Negative 120, it's at 1.5. Negative 120, 1.5. Negative 90 at 1. Negative 90, it's here at 1. Negative 60 is at 0.5. Negative 60, 0.5. Negative 30, 0.13. Negative 30, 0.13. 0.13. Negative 0, 0. We have here 0, 0. Look at how I'm doing my plotting. 30, 1.1, 0.13. Sixty, 0.5. 90, 1. 120, 1.5. 150, 1.87. 190, 2. 180, sorry. It's a 2 there at 180. So we are going to draw this using a free hand. The curve should be smooth and continuous in nature, using a free hand. a smooth continuous curve. Then you can label your curve as y is equal to 1 minus cos x. We are done with that one. Let me draw the next curve, and I can use a green pen. Hopefully it will be visible. Negative 181, negative 180, it's here at 1. Negative 150, negative 1.7. Sorry, negative 180 should be at negative 1, not positive 1. Negative 1 is here, down. 150, negative 1.73. 1.73, where do we put it? That's just like saying 1.7. 1.7. At negative 120, negative 2. Negative 120, it's here at negative 2. Negative 90, it's at negative 1.73. Negative 60, it's here at negative 1. Negative 30 is at 0. Sorry, negative 30 here, it's at 0. This one I've drawn it wrong. I've even ended up erasing my line. Let me just redraw that line. That one will not cost a lot. I had reached at negative 30. It is at 0. Negative 30, 0. It's here. I'm using a green pen. 0, 1. Then 30, 1.73. 30, 1.73. Sorry, it is at 1.73. 60, it is at 2. 60 is here at 2. 90, it is at 1.73. Okay, we are doing just well. Let me scroll and show you something here, something very, very important, and it will really help you. I know some of you rarely interact with your log tables. I'm not, let me see if I can get whatever I want to show here so that learners can equally apply. Yes, you can see in your log table already we have the formula here. We have this one and this one here. That for a geometric sequence, the sum of n terms when r is greater than 1 is given by a into r power n minus 1 all over r minus 1. But if r is less than 1, then it will be given by a into 1 minus r a power n over 1 minus r. Alright? So because our r is less than 1, then the sum of n terms will be given by a into 1 minus r power n over 1 minus r. So this means we are going to have 81 into 1 minus r, which is a third, power n, 5 terms, all over 1 minus a third. So upon reaching here, let's see what we are going to evaluate. This will be like when I take a third, raised to power 5, then 1 minus that value times 81. I'm getting I'm getting this as 80.6667 divided by 2 over 3. Divide this by 2 over 3. When I divide it by 2 over 3, I'm going to get 121. 121 as the sum of the n terms. 121 as the sum of the first 5 terms. Part D, given that the 5th and the 7th terms of the GP form the first 2 consecutive terms of the AP, calculate the sum of the first 20 terms of the sequence. They are saying, given that the 5th, the 5th term is given by AR power 4. Term number 5 in GP is given by AR power 4, which is equal to A is 81. So we have 81 times a third raised to power 4, and this is equivalent to 1. And the 7th term, term number 7, is like saying AR power 6, that is 81 multiplied by 1 over 3 power 6, and this gives you 2 out of 81. 2 out of 81. They form the first two consecutive terms of the AP. Because they form the first two consecutive terms of the AP, then we can get what we call they form the first two consecutive terms of an AP. Find the sum of the sequence. We need first to populate our D. How do you get D? It will be now the first two consecutive terms. It will be now 2 out of 81 minus 1. And when you have 2 out of 81, 12 minus 1, that is negative 79 out of 81. We are going to have negative 79 out of 81. So this should have been 1 over 9. What did I do here? Let me just confirm. 81 times a third raised to power 6. This should have been 1 over 9. Apologies. This should have been 1 over 9. So this should have been 1 over 9. We should be having here 1 over 9 minus 1, which is negative 8 over 9. Negative 8 over 9. After having that as negative 8 over 9, now they want the sum of the first 20 terms. Sum of n terms is given by n over 2 into 2a plus n minus 1 d. Like that. So the sum of the 20 elements will be 20 over 2 into 2a. Remember our a is our first sum of our AP will go written it as 1. So 2 times 1, that will be 1, that will be 2, plus n minus 1. N is 20 minus 1, that is 19, being multiplied by d, which is negative 8 over 9. And that one, I hope I'm doing it right. So when you reach here, what are we going now to have? This will be like saying 10 into, when I take 19 times negative 8 over 9 plus 2, 134 over 9. When you multiply that by 10, I'm getting negative 148, negative 160, negative 148, 28 over 9, 8 over 9. It is my hope that I've done it the right way. It is my hope that I've done it the right way. We proceed to the next part. Question number 23. I'm not doing it because I don't have the construction tools. Therefore, allow I go to question number 24. The diagram below represents a wooden prism. ABCD is a rectangle. Point E and F, let me see. E and F are directly below C and B respectively, meaning at 90 degrees. M is the midpoint of CD. AB is 8 centimeters, AB is 8. BC is equal to 10 centimeters and CE is equivalent to 4.5 centimeters. CE is 4.5 centimeters. So upon reaching that point, part A says find the size of angle CDE. CDE, that's a very simple angle. For you to get CDE, it is an angle that looks this way. We are having something of this type. We are having something of this type here. This is D, C, sorry, E is C. So this angle is 90. How do we get it? This is 4.5. And this is 8. Let's see SOHCAHTOA. When you have opposite and hypotenuse, you are most likely going to use opposite and hypotenuse. We are going to use sine. So I can say sine theta is equal to opposite 4.5 over hypotenuse 8. So our theta will be given by the sine inverse of 4.5 over 8, which will be equivalent to the sine inverse. We are now working on the sine inverse of 4.5 over 8, 34.23. 34.23 degrees. Part B, the length of AC. The length of AC. Remember they said ABCD is a rectangle. So if that is the case, let's first draw the rectangle ABCD. The rectangle ABCD looks like this. The rectangle ABCD looks like this. Let me draw it so that you understand. ADCB. This is 10. AB is 8. Meaning also here is 8. Then they want this length of AC, the diagonal. So the length AC will be given by the square root of 10 squared plus 8 squared. And this will become the square root of 10 squared and 8 squared. That is 12.81 centimeters. And 2, the angle CAE makes with ADEF. CAE, let me see, CAE, let me join that plane, CAE. Wonderful question. And the plane, let me see, ADEF, CAE, this is the plane. So you need to be very keen with such like a part. They want CAE and the plane AFED. So here we are going to need a lot of concepts for us to be able to apply, but I'm going to simplify my explanation so that my gentlemen and ladies can easily relate. Let me join first of all so that we see. So that plane and the base. So one thing I want you to understand, the angle made by them is simply this angle here. This angle is the angle they want. So remember AC, I had AC as root 164. If my AC is 164, I have, okay, let me draw first maybe before I explain. I'll have something like this. I'll have something like this. My pen needs some reboosting. Let's give it some 2 minutes. Just some 2 minutes. Keep subscribing. Follow along STEM Smart Academy. For more tuition programs or even revision materials, you can reach out via the number 07 41 30 43 11. It is helpful to you as a learner and also those who are interested in exploring more in mathematics. This is a site for you. We offer all this for free, all these YouTube channels, all those YouTube lessons. All you need is a connection to an internet, then you'll be good to go. So let's plot this. Let's plot this. So let me see how I'm interpreting. I'm having A, E, C. I'm having here A, E, C. So this AC is root 164. How did I get to 164? 100 squared plus 16 plus 8 squared, that's 100, sorry, 100 plus 64 is 164. So root 164, this is 4.5. And this is the angle they want, angle alpha. Opposite hypotenuse, I'm going to use sine. So I'll say sine alpha is equal to opposite 4.5 over hypotenuse root 164. So our alpha will be the sine inverse of 4.5 over root 164. This is going to give you, if you follow along it keenly, you are going to get 20.57. 20.57 degrees. Part C, Roman 1, find the length of MB. Let us see the length of MB. Let's join M to B. MB this way. Remember they had said that M, the point that said M is the midpoint of CD. So if CD was 8, MC will be 4. So this angle here will be 90. This is 4. This is 10. They want the length of MB. So which side will be 90? Let me see. The side that will be 90 is no, the 90 is here, not here. Very important for you to get to know where the 90 is. So let me draw it to make the point sink home. To make the point sink home, we are having something like this. This is M, B, C. My 90 is here. MC is 4. This is 10. So I want this MB. So that means my MB will be 10 squared plus 4 squared, then I square root. So when you consider that, that will be 10.77 centimeters. 10.77 centimeters. Part Roman 2, the angle CBM. Let's see the angle CBM. This angle, that now becomes simpler. CBM, even I can just use this diagram, CBM, this angle here. So that angle, I'll say if I have adjacent and opposite, adjacent, opposite, I can use tan, whereby I can call it theta, and theta will be given by opposite 4 over adjacent 10. So my theta will be given by the tan inverse of 0.4, which will be equal to the tan inverse, sorry, not tan. The tan inverse of 0.4 is 21.8. 21.8. We get it as 21.8 degrees. So that's how you respond to questions in this question paper. We've reached towards the end of this discussion. Thank you for following live. If you want more revision materials, even the KCSE exams, the targeter wings, compass exams, timer exams, just WhatsApp or call the number 07 41 30 43